Okay, so what we're going to start with is just some very simple breathing exercises. I'm going to get you doing some abdominal breathing. Hopefully you can see me okay. You can see my feet. I'm kind of positioned in the right spot, so hopefully you can see me from head to toe. Now, what we're going to do is start by standing. So as I said, with this exercise, you can do it standing or sitting. So I'll show you the standing position first, and then I'll show you the sitting position. So if you're standing, it's very loose and relaxed. The main thing with Qigong is that you do feel comfortable and relaxed. So what I'd like you to do is just firstly look down at your feet and just look at them and see how they're lined up. So make sure that they're about hip width distance apart and that your feet are parallel. So you don't want one foot sticking out to the side on the heels, you know, higgledy-piggledy or anything like that. You want the feet to be like train tracks. So if you look down, you're looking at the feet, you also look at the knees and make sure they're kind of lined up with everything as well. So your legs are like train tracks all the way down and then your big toes pointing straight ahead. Then what you want to do is just sway backwards and forwards. Just move the weight gently from the heels to the balls of the feet and back to the heels again. So forwards and backwards, hopefully without falling over. And just feel where the weight is distributed on the surface, on the soles of your feet. And then just come back to a middle position with that. So really just slowing down and decreasing the amplitude of that movement. And just finding a middle place with that. So you feel like you're nice and balanced. And then just check with your knees that there's softness in the knees. So you may just want to do a couple of little bounces on the knees or just wiggle your knees and just make sure that everything feels like you're nice and relaxed in the knee area. And then be very relaxed in the lower back as well. So just almost tucking your tailbone down and under, just to allow your lower back to not be quite so curved. Try and make it a little bit flatter, but not putting any huge effort into that. Then the next thing, checking that there's no tension in your shoulders. So what I'd like you all to do now is just take a big deep breath in and shrug your shoulders up to your ears as you do it. Breathing in. And then breathing out. This time breathe out through the mouth, just with a big sigh, just to release any tension. Breathing in through the nose, pick up the shoulders, breathe out, drop the shoulders. And one more time. Okay, and then just shaking out the arms. So the arms just hang very loosely down by your sides. And then the last thing you want to check is that there's no kind of tension or kind of scrunching up in the vertebrae in the back of the neck. So you don't want your head to be tilted up like this. And you don't want to be too far down like this on your chest. You want your chin to be more or less parallel with the ground. And if anything, just tucking the chin in slightly back towards the throat and feeling a little bit of elevation up the back of the head here, like we're being pulled up by a string. Okay, and then just relaxing in that position. Now, if you're happy with the standing position, then just stay like that and just as you're standing, just really focus on just being loose and comfortable and relaxed. If you'd rather do this sitting, I'm just quickly going to show you the sitting position as well. Okay, so for sitting, everything is the same, apart from what you're going to do is just, you've got this angle in your body. So what you want to do is make sure that you're sitting up straight. So again, you've got this idea of the train tracks going from the hips to the knees and down to the feet, looking down at your toes and making sure the feet are parallel. And then as far as the back is concerned, I'll just show you from the side. What you don't want is a position where you're kind of slumping like this, or where you're sitting at the front of the chair and you're slumping back like this. That's very bad for your back. So what you want to do is to sit on the first third of the chair and make sure that you're upright. So your back is upright, and then just resting the hands just gently on the knees. If you find while you're sitting that your back gets tired, if anyone's got any back problems or issues around the back, the spine, the neck area, what you can do, if you find you're getting tired, is move the whole body back and then sit and allow the back of the chair to support you. So don't just lean back if you get tired. Move the whole body back, and then again sitting up as straight as you can. So that's the sitting position. The arms are the same, and what you may want to do is just rest the hands on the knees, either face down or face up, whatever's comfortable for you. So I'll come back to standing. Okay. So in your standing position now, what I'd like you all to do is just place your hands on your rib cage and have your middle fingers touching. So just the middle fingers touching. And what I'd like you to do now is take a really big deep breath in through your nose and breathe into your chest. Don't be thinking, if you have experience of Qigong, don't be thinking about any other kind of breathing. Just breathing into your chest and try and get your rib cage to move laterally, move sideways. And as you do that, you'll see that the fingers, the middle fingers, actually move apart. So if you watch me as I do it, and you see my chest is moving, my shoulders are moving, and the fingers are moving apart. Okay, so that's the kind of breathing that most of us do. That's the kind of shallow chest breathing thing that a lot of us have going on. And that can in itself create a little bit of anxiety. We feel sometimes when we're breathing into certainly into the upper part of the chest, that we might be not getting enough air. We might feel a bit of shortness of breath. And that again can make us feel a little bit more anxious or a little bit more panicky. So what we want to do is to change that breathing style from chest breathing into something called abdominal breathing. So some of you may have done this many times before. And like I said, this is nothing new. The things I'll be doing in these classes on Zoom are nothing new. They'll just be going over things that you've done before, but hopefully you're deepening the practice for those of you with experience. And for those of you who've never done it before, this will be something really interesting for you. So we're going to change that movement into abdominal breathing now. So what I'd like you to do is keeping the hands where they are. This time I'd like you to breathe in and out through the nose and just imagine as you're breathing in that you're filling up the lower belly, so the bit below your belly button here, and you're inflating it like a balloon as you breathe in and the belly moves out. So as you breathe in, take a big breath in through the nose and see what happens to the fingers if you're able to fill the belly. So just have a go for 2 or 3 breaths, breathing in and out through the nose. If you're watching your own fingers or you're watching mine, you'll see that the fingers don't move apart. There's no lateral expansion of the rib cage when you do that. So this is abdominal breathing, and it's a much more efficient way of breathing. You can get the breath or the chi or the energy deeper down into your lungs. So you'll find that you don't need to breathe as frequently. If you were to time your breaths per minute when you do abdominal breathing, it really slows down. And by slowing this breath down and by doing this kind of breathing, it can really help to calm and focus the mind and to alleviate any anxiety. So maybe now just move one of your hands to below your belly button, so placing it flat on your belly, and let the other hand just hang loosely down. Again, checking that there's no tension in the shoulders, just relaxing in the shoulder area. And now just see if you can feel that movement of the belly expanding as you breathe in and shrinking as you breathe out. Now, if this is something you've never done before, it might feel a bit strange, but can I reassure you and say that this is the kind of breathing you would have done as a baby. Babies are born breathing like this. And if any of you have pets at home, if you watch them when they're sleeping, you see that they breathe like this. Their belly is the thing that's moving up and down, not their lungs. And I think by the age of about 7 or 8, children lose this ability to breathe into their lower abdomen, to do this abdominal breathing, probably due to kind of rushes, the rushing around and the modern day living that we all go through. And at this time, this is a great opportunity for us all to slow down. Many of us are in our homes with more time on our hands. So we have the opportunity to relax and slow down and to practice something like this. So This is nothing new for you. Even if you think you've never done it before, I can assure you that you have. So you're just really reminding your body of something that you used to do, probably for the first 7 years of your life. So now what I'd like you all to do is really to feel into this movement a little bit more. And it might help you just to close your eyes as you do this. Closing your eyes and now just focusing on the breath. So listening to my voice, checking that the mouth is closed and the breath is in and out through the nose. The tongue is resting against the roof of the mouth and the tip of the tongue is resting against the back of your upper teeth. And maybe just let your mouth fall slightly open just for a moment and just wiggling the jaw from side to side just to check that you're not holding any tension here in the joints where the upper and the lower jaw bones are joining. We often hold a lot of tension there. So wiggling from side to side and then closing the mouth again. Keeping the eyes closed now. And for those of you who are new to Qigong, all Qigong is a series of simple movements, breathing, and the use of your mind in order to promote the free flow of energy, or what we call Qi, throughout the body. And when that energy is open and free flowing, then everything in the body and the mind, so on a physical, emotional, and mental level, all of those elements and aspects of our body and mind are able to function and communicate with each other freely and openly. And so the body naturally brings itself back into balance. So this is a really great way in which to preserve your health, but also if you have any specific health issues, all you're doing with Qigong is creating the right conditions to allow your body to rebalance itself. So you're giving it the best chance. So you don't have to be focusing in any major way with your mind on anything specific, only that you're really comfortable and relaxed. So with your eyes closed now, really feel into that first element that we practice with Qigong, which is the movement. Just feeling into that movement, the rise and fall of your belly. Breathing in, your belly expands, and breathing out, the belly shrinks back towards your spine. The second element of Qigong is the breath. So you're actually coordinating two elements of Qigong already just by standing here and breathing. So you've got the movement of the belly and you've got the breath that's causing that to happen. So what I'd like you to do now is bring the third element of Qigong into this, which is your mind. So you're breathing in and out through the nose. And what you can do is use your mind, in your mind's eye, as you breathe in, catch that very first little bit of air that enters your nostrils. We call it catching the head of the Qi, the very first little bit of the energy or the air that's coming in. So catch it in your mind's eye and follow it all the way down into the lower belly area, behind where you're resting your hand. Keep your mind down there as the breath turns around. And then follow the breath back up and out as you exhale with your mind, all the way up and out. Being very focused at this last little point to let that breath go out the nostrils. What you don't want to do is lose focus and allow that exhalation just to, almost the energy of it to go up into the top of the head. You're breathing out the kind of waste air, so you're not going to give yourself a headache by breathing out waste air and allowing that energy to go too far up into your head. So what you want to be thinking of as you exhale is very clearly seeing the pathway in your mind's eye of the breath leaving the nostrils and going out across the room, out the window, and up and away into the sky. So what you're doing here is you're building a pathway between the mind, of linking the mind and the breath together. So breathing in, catching the head of the Qi, the first little bit of air at your nostrils, following it all the way down, staying down there in your mind as the breath turns around and then following it all the way back up and out the nostrils. And by building this pathway and this connection between the mind and the breath, you're then really kind of prepping yourself to be able to do a lot more in terms of more focused Qigong exercises around specific health conditions. So this is just a little bit of training that you're prepping yourself for here. Some people, with the visualization of this, some people like to visualize maybe a white light coming in and going out, if that helps you. Some other people, I know some of my other students, I've used the analogy of a Chinese dragon. So you know the Chinese dragons that are in the Chinese New Year parades, the really kind of swirly whirly ones that are very dynamic and very active. So it's almost like you imagine this lovely active kind of dragon that's going to give you loads of energy coming in, entering the nostrils, and it's almost in your mind's eye, you jump on the back of the dragon as it comes in, you follow it all the way down into the lower belly, and then stay on the dragon and follow it all the way back up, and at the very last moment in your mind you just jump off and let the dragon leave your nostrils. So some people like that as an analogy or a help with the visualization, because the dragons in Chinese culture are very auspicious and very energetic, very dynamic. So it's bringing lots of energy, lots of really healthy qi into your body from the outside. So we have the movement here, the belly up and down, so that's the first element. We have the breath that's causing that, which is the second element of Qigong. And then we have your mind, which is focused but not so focused like a laser beam. I have a lot of students who say, oh, you know, I'm really trying to concentrate on this, but I feel it's really difficult to concentrate. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just pay kind of almost casual attention to what's going on. Let it go and then just be in the moment, enjoying what you're doing. The main thing with anything to do with Qigong is that you feel comfortable and relaxed. So if you're struggling, if you're getting stressed about it, if you're finding it difficult, you're getting worried about how you're practicing, just let everything go and just stand there and breathe. And just enjoy it, enjoy what you're doing, and just be in that moment. So as long as you're comfortable and relaxed when you're doing any Qigong, that means you're doing it right. I often have students ask me, am I doing this right? Have I got this movement right? Doesn't matter. Just be comfortable and relaxed. And then if you get that result of feeling better after your practice, then you know that you've done something right. And you've made that little baby step towards a little bit better health, a little bit better, you know, state of health, and really releasing that potential to be the healthiest you can be. So keeping the eyes closed now, just let go of that kind of idea of the mind following the breath. And instead, what I'd like you to do now is just think of each time you breathing in really clean, fresh, energizing air. It's been drawn down all the way into your lower belly. And from there, this is your kind of powerhouse. This is where your energy center, this is where all of that lovely energy that you've just been breathing in is going to just kind of swirl around and then be just circulated and distributed around the rest of your body. And as you breathe out, what I'd like you to do is think of anything in your body or your mind that you don't want. So this could be a physical ache or a pain. It could be a knee pain or a back pain or a headache. It could be a digestive issue, anything that's causing pain or discomfort physically. Or it could be something emotional. So it could be grief or sadness or anxiety or fear or anger. So you probably find as I'm speaking now that one thing pops into your mind. So I would say just work with one thing at a time. So whatever that first thing was you thought of, I want you to think now, each time you breathe out, of breathing that thing out, of letting it go. And you're not breathing it out with any force or any kind of malice. You're not at war with it. What you're doing is you're creating and opening or clearing the pathway by which it can lead. So it's almost like you're accompanying it and just saying basically, look, you don't need to be in here. I'm just going to show you the way out so that you can leave my body, you can leave my mind, and see it in your mind's eye, leaving the nostrils, going out the window and away up into the sky. So when you move something, when you get rid of something that you don't want, what you're doing is you're creating space to bring in things that you do want. And what you do want in this situation is really clean, fresh, energizing air. It's very difficult for us to heal unless we have space in our bodies to do that. We need to create this space. So it's like you're clearing the decks, you're decluttering your body in order for you to bring in really clean, fresh energy and something that's going to do the healing for you. So this is a really powerful use of abdominal breathing from a therapeutic point of view in Chinese medicine and in Qigong. It's very simple. All you're doing is breathing. It looks like you're not doing anything. But the beauty of it is, what you can do is you can do this anywhere. You can do this. You don't have to have your eyes closed. So you can do it when you're standing in a queue somewhere, when you're driving the car, when you're watching TV. You can stop for a moment if you're working at a laptop or doing some office work from home, and just stop and breathe and just take 3 breaths. And you'll find that the power of even just 3 or 4 breaths is really, it's really calming, it's really energizing at the same time, and it does just clear that space. It clears that kind of mental clutter from our brains, and it can be quite energizing and relaxing at the same time. So just keep working there with now that idea of breathing in the really clean, fresh, energizing chi or air, bringing it down into the lower belly, and then breathing out anything, the one thing that you've decided that you'd rather not have, and just gently leading it out the nostrils as you exhale. And just doing that for a few more breaths. And now, keeping your eyes closed, just letting go of that thought and bring your mind back to the simple rise and fall of your belly. As you breathe in, the belly expands, and as you breathe out, the belly sinks back towards your spine. And just make a mental note now of how you feel. And ask yourself now, does my breathing feel a little bit easier? Does it feel deeper or slower? Does it feel a little bit more open and unobstructed? How do you feel, ask yourself, in your body? Have you got any aches and pains that maybe have eased just while you've been doing this? Or has it highlighted any areas where you might be holding tension? Because Qigong can do that as well. It can highlight where your areas of stagnant flow of energy are. Also, how do you feel mentally and emotionally now? Do you feel calmer and more relaxed? Does your mind feel clearer? So it's important to notice just how you're feeling after practice, just so you just have an idea of how you're getting on as you progress and as you practice more Qigong. So now what I'd like you to do is that hand that's on your lower belly, just place the other hand directly on top of it. So one hand is flat on top of the other, keeping the eyes closed now. And just give your belly a little rub. So just circling in one direction, very slowly. And then in the other. Just sealing in all of that lovely chi that you've brought into your body. And then again, keeping the eyes closed. What I'd like you to do now is bring your hands together and rub the hands together really, really strongly so that you feel heat between the palms of your hands. Now, if you're wearing glasses, you might want to take them off right now. what I'm going to ask you to do is just place one palm over each eye, flat, with the fingers facing up towards the ceiling, feeling the heat and the energy from the palms of your hands going into your eyes, not just to the surface of the eyes, but right through the eyes, through the back of the eyes, into your head. Really feeling the healing energy going into your mind. And then to finish this exercise now, just giving your face a little rub, almost like a little face wash. And then shaking out the hands. And you can open your eyes. So that's the abdominal breathing exercise, everyone. I'm just going to check my screen now because something's popped up on it. So I'm just going to see what it's saying. Bear with me 1 minute. Okay, so I don't believe it, it's 10:30. So that was a real, like, with Qigong, it's like a time warp. You go into doing a little bit of Qigong and then it's like, oh, what happened to that half an hour? That's mad. So that's the abdominal breathing exercise. And many of you have done this before. And that's okay. It's, like I said, you're not going to be getting anything new here, but each time you do it, you may get something extra out of it. You might feel that little bit more relaxation. You might find that you feel that little bit more something going on in terms of the connection of your mind and your breath together. So we'll leave it there. And what I'm going to do, I'll come back to the screen now a bit closer up. And if anybody's got any questions or anything you want to ask me, then ask away. We've got a few more minutes left. And then what we'll do is we'll continue with this practice session. So the next one is on Thursday at 4 p.m. But I'll be in touch with you. You can see on the Facebook group, and I'll give you an email as well about the next class that's coming up. So I hope that was helpful for you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'll just come back to the screen now. And if anyone wants to ask me anything, then you can unmute yourselves. Okay, I'm just looking here in the chat box, so just let me have a look there and see what everybody said. Okay. Joanne, you're very welcome. Lois, you said, oh, I always have really cold hands. When I cover my eyes, I have to imagine warmth. Does this still work with cold hands? What you'll find, Lois, is as you practice this more, you'll find that your hands will get warmer. There's a lot of things you can do for cold hands. If you're on Facebook, if you want to post that in the Facebook group, I'll give you some other advice that I can share with everybody as well. But some of the upcoming exercises, you'll be able to work with warming up those cold hands as well. It's quite a common issue for many of my clients, so I've got a lot of experience in helping them with that. Okay. Let me see what else. Oh, everyone, you're so kind. You're saying thank you. Oh, that's great. That's really good. I'm just looking to see if I have any other questions to answer for you. Ready to face the day, says Deirdre. That's great. How much, oh, Susan says, how much does your abdomen expand when you're breathing in? Susan, it shouldn't be a huge amount. It can be a very small movement as long as you feel something like it's going down into that area. If it's anything, you're not really making your belly expand. What you're doing is you're really just relaxing into it. So if you're feeling a little bit of movement of the belly expanding as you breathe in, then that's perfect. And again, I can't reiterate this enough. If you feel comfortable and relaxed while you're doing it, then you're doing it properly. So it doesn't, none of this has to be a huge effort. That's what I would say to you. Okay. Okay, let's see now. All right. Jennifer says, someone advised me to work on my root chakra. Does this help? So root chakras are more Indian Ayurvedic medicine, but they do have things in common with Chinese medicine. So this is bringing down the chi. It's bringing the chi down into that area, which would correspond to the root chakra. So yes, absolutely, Jennifer, that would be of help for you. It's a very grounding exercise. And often people, when they're asked to work with root chakras, you're looking at doing something kind of grounding and really, you know, fortifying your foundation, the foundation of your body. So, so yeah, this will be very helpful for that. Oh, Kathleen, glad you're feeling relaxed and refreshed. That's brilliant. Okay, Shelley. Oh, your abdomen feels like a balloon that wants to explode. Am I doing it wrong? So if you're feeling tension there, often what can happen, and if you feel like there's pressure, what can happen is you might be taking the breath in a little bit too much. But what I would do more than focusing on the inhale is I would focus on the exhalation. And if you can, Shelley, what I would do, even maybe with counting, so breathing in for a count of 4 and then breathing out for a count of 6, make the exhalation longer and see if that gives you a little bit more ease in the belly there. And it might be the kind of thing that just comes with a bit more practice as well. Sometimes, you know, all of these things are, all of the Qigong is just highlighting maybe where you are holding a little bit of tension, which is good because it's giving you a really good sign of where you need to be maybe focusing your effort and relaxing more. So I would say definitely focus more on the exhalation. Same for everybody else. If you feel there's any issue with inhalation or any tension around that, focus a little bit more on the exhale, really letting go. And if you do this when you're lying down in the bed, you can almost, as you exhale, you can almost imagine yourself sinking down into the bed, getting heavier, and that's amazing. It feels really fabulous. So this is a great exercise to do when you go into bed at night. It's very relaxing, very good for anyone who has trouble sleeping. Okay. Okay, any other questions? Sunil, oh, my neck and back started aching as I was standing. That's very common, Sunil. So that's highlighting, again, areas of tension. So for you, what you'd want to do is not stand for so long initially. You might want to have a chair next to you so you can sit down or even lie down when you do this, and that will remove that tension for you. But what I would say is as you're standing, just each time, just do it for short periods of time, and each time just try and do it for a little bit longer, but obviously not so that you're in such discomfort that it's distracting, because then you're not comfortable and relaxed. And the whole idea is that you feel comfortable and relaxed. Okay, so Susan's saying, oh, you don't really feel too much at all. Susan, if you've not done this before, don't be worried about that at all. And what I would say to anyone who doesn't feel too much at all when you practice this standing, or even more so sitting, because sitting is a bit more difficult with your body at the angle, so your belly's a bit more squashed, practice this lying down and feel the rise and fall of your belly when you're in a lying down position. It's much easier that way. So maybe try that as you go into bed tonight. Okay, that's great, everyone. I'm glad you felt so relaxed. Does anyone have any questions, any other questions that you want to ask so I can unmute you? No, all good? Okay, that's great. So I'll be back at 4 p.m. Irish time on Thursday, if you can make it. I'm going to be doing these twice weekly classes until I can go back into my Chinese medicine and acupuncture clinics. So if you care to join me for any of them, what I'll do, you're all on my email list, so I'll just send out the link to the Zoom meeting link. It'll be different each time. So I'll send out the link the day before. So tomorrow you'll get one for Thursday, and then the hour before the meeting starts, I'll send the link again. If any of you, I think a couple of you had problems getting the link or didn't get the email, please do check your junk or your spam folders, because they may have gone into there. But again, I do check my phone just before I come online, so just send me a quick message if you can't get in for whatever reason. Thanks so much, everybody. You were amazing. Thanks so much for the great feedback. Oh, one last question. Alan says, I have COPD, so obstructive breathing, and find the breathing exercise difficult. What can I do? Alan, just do whatever you can with that breathing. The more you practice it, the more it actually works to open up your airways a little bit more. So this is actually a really good exercise for you. Don't try and force it. Don't be struggling with it, but just go really gentle with it. But even if it's just a case of putting your mind in your lower belly, then your breathing will start to open up and just come that little bit deeper for you and just be a little bit less obstructed. So it's definitely worth you practicing and investing a little bit of time in doing this kind of breathing. It will be really of help to you. Similarly with anybody with asthma, any other kind of breathing difficulties, it's really very useful for that. Because also if you have any breathing difficulties, you can always get a bit panicky and a bit anxious if you can't quite catch your breath. So this will enable you to get things under control a little bit quicker. And so it can be very helpful for you. But everyone, if you have any questions, email me or put them in the, I think most of you are in the Space to Relax free Qigong group on Facebook. Put them in there if you can, rather than email me, so that then when I share my answers, everybody gets to benefit from my answers. Unless, of course, it's a really private health thing that you don't want everyone to know about, in which case send me a private email. Thanks so much for everyone. That was brilliant, and hope to see you on Thursday. Thank you. Bye.